I know last time I said that this made me like movies more and that I enjoy watching them more. The more I learned about this movie and the more I found out about this movie, the more I fucking hated it.
Oh no, I had a really good time with it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is one that we're probably gonna not agree on. I think that it's a good time if you watch it with someone.
Mm-hmm.
But when I watched it alone, I was just like, it was so slow that it made me want to cry.
It was very slow. My first note, in fact, is the sound and transitions and pacings. Yikes-a-do.
I feel like that is the best description you could have given to it. I did rewatch it this afternoon. What did you end up watching it on?
Yellow icon. I don't remember.
It's on a lot of the free apps. It was on like Tubi or Mubi or something, and then another one.
I guess I used the other one.
It's also on YouTube.
Oh, I didn't even think to look on YouTube.
Yeah, with Spanish subtitles.
Oh, dope.
So I watched it this afternoon again because I was like, maybe I'm missing something. So I decided to put myself back through that, and it turns out I wasn't, but I did do it at twice the speed, and it did make the movie a little bit better. Yeah, I liked it better at twice the speed, and it felt like the pacing was better. I don't know.
I totally get that. I think that this is a movie from like culturally, this is a movie from when we were making movies like plays. And so it's very like there were even a lot of scenes where like the one that's coming to mind is when Adam goes to the gallery for the first time and he like storms in and he's like dicking around with the red carpet. He's just like walking for so long in complete silence. I was like, why isn't there even music?
Oh yeah, there are so many scenes like that.
Welcome to Never Show the Monster. I'm Kelly Adaway.
I'm Chelsea Hollander.
And today we are talking about Color Me Blood Red, which is already driving a wedge in our friendship. I liked it. Chelsea didn't. I'm interested in hearing why she didn't. I thought it was like, yes, boring, but very funny.
I didn't even think it was funny.
Oh.
But I feel like if you and I were in the same room when we watched it together and we riffed on it, I would have enjoyed it.
Okay, let's start riffing.
Okay, so let's just rewatch it right now. So the movie is directed by Herschel Gordon Lewis, who is said to be one of the godfathers of gore, but I don't know if it's self-proclaimed. I couldn't find many other people saying it. It does say it in his mini bio on IMDb, which he is a very interesting character. He was like a professor for a long time. He did a lot of splatter films, which the term splatter film was coined in the 70s, but most of his movies came out in the 60s.
Is that like a precursor to slasher films?
I'm trying to look it up because I read about splatter films, and the term was coined with Savini with the Day of the Dead. Or was Dawn of the Dead first?
Couldn't tell you.
One of the Deads.
I think Dawn was first.
I think Dawn. So Dawn of the Dead with Savini, that was around the time it was actually coined, but then they kind of retroactively applied it to Herschel Gordon Lewis. I don't know if I need to say his name 3 times. I wonder if it's because he's like secretly a serial killer, which I would not be shocked by because he was like a professor for a while and lectured on mass communication for a good chunk of his life. Then he stopped and started making these splatter films for like a decade. And then he went back into marketing and ad writing.
Oh, he's just bouncing around.
Yeah, and then he wrote 32 books on marketing.
Oh, wow. Okay, so he really found his passion, huh?
Yeah, he's all over the place, this guy, just completely all over the place.
Okay.
But the movie that we're talking about today, Color Me Blood Red, is actually the third in a trilogy.
Oh, no.
The more you know.
Are the first two...
I think the first two are actually better. I did watch clips of the first one. The first one is called Blood Feast, which was remade in 2016 as well. It is about a guy that ends up, I'm going to butcher this, and somebody who is a horror fan might listen to this at some point in their life. That's like a deep horror fan. And then they're going to be like, that's not what the movie's about at all. But it seemed to be a guy that ended up coaxing people to his house, and then he would eat them.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then the second one got Bloodfest 2000 Maniacs, Color Me Blood Red. And then Color Me Blood Red was the third, and it is known to be the worst of the three.
Okay,
and a lot of people have commented on many of the reviews saying, I'm not trying to say I have evidence to back up my opinion that it was garbage, but...
I mean, it's bad, but it's funny.
Yeah, but weird guy. It was strange to learn more about him. He did have... There are things that he did that I felt really, I don't know, weird about. We might end up editing this part out.
No, tell me why he's weird. He's been canceled, sure.
He made a movie called Black Love, which was, just him going. It was an X-rated film where he just went and videotaped Black people having sex.
Okay. I mean, on the face of it, not great, not good. Was he? But I want to know, like what his motivations were.
The way he describes things in the film made me uncomfortable to the point where it seemed like a nature documentary.
That's not good. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, exactly.
That's bad.
I didn't watch the film. I don't want to be like, obviously, but I didn't watch the film. It is X-rated, and I wouldn't be able to find it. Would I be able to find it on YouTube?
Quick,
I don't know. I don't think I would. But I did read the quotes from it, and I immediately was like, this makes me not like this guy. Yeah, whenever I said the more I learned about it, the less I liked it. That was kind of the main reason, because once I learned more about him, I was like, I don't know if I can get behind this guy, because I did think it was interesting, his before and after his film directing debut, or his film directing career. I thought it was really interesting. And I was like, oh, I mean, you do a bunch of different things in your life, and I think that that's really cool. And then I read that, and I was like,
yeah, not great. Not great.
But yeah, we can get into the details of the film.
The basic plot is this artist is, he's well renowned. People know him and respect him and want to buy his work. But this one critic keeps like getting his goat and telling him that he could like explore color work in his paintings better or more thoroughly. And ultimately he learns that like blood is the perfect color red for his paintings, and that leads to murdering people to harvest their internal art supplies. Here's what I want to say though. Blood dries brown.
I know. That's exactly what I was like, this is not usable. And it's obviously a film that's kind of campy, so you're not gonna lose yourself in the gore. For something that's supposed to be so gory, it just didn't feel gory because the blood didn't feel real.
No, it's bright red. The texture is weird. I don't know. It's very weird. It looks like paint is what it looks like. The scene where he's got this woman like tied up and he's like squeezing her intestines, I guess, to get blood out. First of all, you're going to get poop out, not blood.
Yeah, there's not any other color associated in the internal.
Like, I'm sorry, this is not adding up. But secondly, that just like, oh man, that made me laugh. It looked really bad.
So there's a scene that happened right after he learned his girlfriend or his lady friend at the time. Her name is Gigi. His name is Adam Sorg. She cuts herself very terribly on one of his pieces of art, and then she just like drips blood all over his painting for fun. And
oh no, she's just wiping her hand off. She's like, gotcha. Ew, gross, get it off me.
But whenever he talks to her the next day and he finds out that it's blood, he's like, oh, this is the red that I need to use. And he rubs her hand on the painting. I remember like right before that, she made a comment about her blood not being tomato juice. And I was like, is that a joke? Is it really tomato juice? Is that what you guys are using? Because I have no idea how you are making this color try to work.
Yeah, that was pretty goofy. So leading up to that scene, we catch like glimpses of their relationship. They like live on the end of a like isolated beach, and they're out like in their dumb paddle bikes. What are they?
The paddle bikes.
Little paddle bikes. They're little. They look like pontoon boats, but they're bikes.
It's like, so you've been on a paddle boat, but you're in the reclined position.
Right. They're like upright, like a bicycle.
And you can't go anywhere. You stay still. They stay still. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why these were needed for this film.
I don't know. But like, they have this repeated line, like, oh, what does she say? She says, like, if we ever get married, the first thing I'll do is get a divorce. And that's how all the lines are delivered, like old-timey radio hosts. And they are out there on their little paddle boats. And he's like, come here, I have a secret to tell you. And he knocks her into the water and says, like, you look like a drowned alley cat. Get in the house. Like, they are no good together. No wonder he ends up murdering her. Like, he hates her.
Yeah.
He does not like this woman.
But does he like any woman? Does he like anything?
I don't think he likes anyone. So they are like clearly bad for each other. But he like ends up seducing her. I mean, they're already together, but like in a specific scene, he's like, hey, baby, let's go to bed. He doesn't say anything, though. He just like looks at her. And then
is it when she's like, my shoes are wet?
My shoes are wet. So he just knocks her into the water. And he's like, yeah, hubba hubba ding ding. So they go and presumably have sex. It all happens off screen. But then there are a bunch of like goofy euphemisms for sex the next morning. So they get up early the next morning. So he's like trying to find where this color red has come from. And he's like grabbing at her hand. And she says, easy, mister. It's too early for breakfast. What? And then in the next line, she says, you're not nervous again, are you? It's only 8 a.m. Like, okay, these lines are like, incredible. Sure, maybe the director sucks. Who's the writer? He's
also the writer.
Oh, damn.
I also read that he likes to do voiceovers in his movies because he doesn't want to pay an actor to be a voice.
Oh.
Yeah, he would do
what do you mean?
Animation.
Like for ADR or for narration? Like, what do you mean? He doesn't like to pay actors to do voiceovers?
It might just be narration. It could be. I didn't read. I don't know. It didn't really specify. It just said I don't like to pay actors to do voiceovers.
Interesting. So he just does it.
Yep.
Okay. Was there a narrator in this? I don't think so.
No, I don't think there was. But there is a narrator in Blood Feast.
Okay.
I almost said Blood Feast. That's not right.
It's like microfiche, but messier. So this is all happening, like, Sexy Times happens after he's been, like, berated by this critic who's like, I don't know.
Gorga. This is just me continuing to mispronounce
Grigorovich? Was it Grigorovich?
Thank you, because I put Gorgurovich.
That's
but
pretty close.
Grigorovich makes more sense than Gorgurovich.
So Grigorovich is the critic and Farnsworth is the gallery owner.
Yes.
And in this scene, when Adam goes to the gallery, it's like an opening of Adam Sorg paintings, and Adam didn't want to go. And then Gigi, you said her name was Gigi?
Gigi.
I had her down as Chi-Chi, and I was like, that's a dog's name.
No, that's what he treated her like, though. So you weren't
treat
wrong.
her like a dog. A dog he has sex with. Curious relationship.
I mean, it's probably what Herschel wanted.
I don't know. So he goes to this gallery only because Gigi like made him. She was like, Farnsworth says he won't work with you if you don't show up for this gallery opening. So he like storms in and is like being a distraction. There's a bunch of people along the walls looking at his paintings, and he's like fucking around with the red carpet, and he gets up on the stage. It's unclear to me why there's a stage.
There's a stage. There's definitely a stage. That's the only place they could afford.
I guess so. So he gets up on the stage and he's like eavesdropping on the critic who's critiquing out loud. And this is another funny part. Adam goes up. There's a painting in landscape hung behind the stage, and he like flips it to be portrait. And then Farnsworth goes back over and flips it sideways again. Like, I don't know. I don't think that this movie is like making a commentary on what is art and how you perceive art. But like, I thought that was really funny. Like, the artist says one way, the purveyor of the art says another. Who is right? Who is to say? Hang it however you want.
Yeah, the keeper of the art is the one who ends up making that decision.
Yeah, whoever buys it. Yeah, do it. I think that those ones, like, there's a pretty well, I don't know, flip one over.
I was going to say, this one could be looking down at me. I'm going to leave that and see if anybody notices it work tomorrow.
That works. That looks good. You know what we forgot to talk about, though?
The beginning?
The beginning. I mean, is the beginning important except for this one note?
Because of the end, but the beginning is just the guy picks up the painting, takes it outside, lights it on fire. Oh, yeah, was there something else?
There is something else I want to talk about, but let's talk about that first. So the opening scene is I just forgot his name. Farnsworth standing in front of this painting, and we can't really see it, but he's moving his arms crazy. And I was like, is he moved by the painting, or is he doing like a ritual? Like, I can't tell why he's moving his arms like this. But he eventually takes it down and takes it outside and pours gasoline all over it. And we will learn why. I mean, you can probably guess.
I also
why.
did appreciate that the gas canister said gas on it in case you were a little confused. They feed you some things, but then they don't feed you other things.
Were those like red nozzled canisters new in the 60s? Like maybe people didn't know what those were back then.
Okay, that makes sense. They might be.
I'm reaching. No, they didn't invent color until the 50s. So.
So no one had any idea.
Nobody knew. Here's what I want to talk about in the opening scene with Adam. He's wearing a dumb ascot, just like John Don from Velvet Buzzsaw. I was like, this stupid artist ascot. Take that off your stupid neck.
That was a scene I enjoyed a lot more whenever it was sped up. I can't even remember the quotes from it. It was just him and Gigi fighting. Oh, and then he painted a red F on the canvas, and he said,
and they're like
Farnsworth.
Yeah, they make that joke again. Like they're really flirting with the F word.
I guess at that time that was, but now we just say it on podcasts all the time, so it doesn't mean anything anymore. Yeah. It's lost its punch.
So before Gigi cuts herself on this painting, Adam is like salty about the critic, but it's just one guy's opinion. And then Farnsworth, the gallery owner, comes over to his house and is like, you know what? I agree with that critic. You can be more creative with the use of color. And that
he also asked for more red paintings. And he collects. Let's talk about some of those red paintings that he picks up. Oh my gosh.
Specifically the weird bowl one.
So, question, what style does this guy paint in? Because he paints in 15 different styles. So you know how week before last week, we talked about the joke that Jameson made in Candyman about the paintings being from thrift stores. I think all of the paintings from him are from thrift stores in this.
No, you know what I think happened is they got the cast and crew together one day for a sip and paint. They were like, okay, just paint what's in your heart. Use red if you can. This is a bonding experience.
I wouldn't mind the one with the two heads that's in the background of next to the abstracts. I don't know if you saw it. It didn't make any sense.
No, I think I missed that one.
I think it was ahead of its time. I think it would have done really well in the 70s.
I'm skeptical just based on the others.
Well, I think the bowl that had a human fist.
Yeah, and very pronounced toes.
I think it definitely felt like a Picasso.
It did, but
bad?
Like a bad Picasso.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was gonna say if Picasso didn't have talent, but I mean, isn't art subjective? Does Picasso have talent? I'm sure he does.
Okay.
We're going to a dark place here.
Let's get into it.
I think I can objectively say through all the movies we watched so far in this art series, the worst art has been in this one.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. And I was looking at the paintings, and they are paintings you would find in a thrift store, but you would find them now.
You would find them now, but they wouldn't be shellacked. They would be my kid did this in 8th grade art class, and I'm donating it because he's finally 25 and he's never going to ask me to mail it to him.
But that's what I'm wondering. I was like, is that all the paintings that we have seen donated? Are those all the paintings now that we have because of the 60s were just a horrible time for
I see what you're saying.
Art creation?
Yeah, maybe when this movie came out, the people were like, damn, I could really go for an Adam Sorg in my living room.
Yeah, I was trying to think of one any of those paintings that I'd be willing to put up in my own.
I mean, the big one, the big bloody one.
The big bloody one, not the half-size bloody one.
Right, the big bloody one.
The big bloody one that's circa a 2003 Tumblr post
with the bloody titties.
Yep.
Don't
worry, you guys. We'll get to that one. Spoiler: he makes it with blood.
Surprise!
Oh no.
So I think we're finally caught up to ourselves. He's trying to use Gigi's finger to paint on this canvas, and she is like very amenable to it. He like cuts her with a razor, and she's like, all right, little finger, bleed for the big man. Like, what are you talking about? Stop it, Gigi. You deserve better. And she finally does stand up for herself. She's like, if you want to use that much blood, you'll have to use your own. And then storms out. So we were talking about transitions that don't have music. This one does have music. And you know what it reminds me of? The Cowboy Bebop theme song. She's like,
my God.
I'll see you later. Like, so many of the transitions are like that upbeat jazz, and it's weirdly juxtaposed with how slow the other scenes are.
That's a good point. I didn't notice. Maybe that was one of the reasons that made me uncomfortable, because it didn't make sense with the pacing.
Yeah, it doesn't track. So he takes her advice and he starts using his own finger to paint. So he's just got a razor that he's cutting himself with, and he's like squeezing his finger like a tube, and it's like running out. And I'm like, I don't think that's how veins work. Like, I don't think that you run out of blood. like I don't think that you can squeeze all the blood out of your finger.
After he does that, he's like half passed out on the couch, and then Gigi comes back.
Yeah, he's looking real rough from lack of blood. He's got it like, it's all over the painting, it's all over his shirt, it's all over his face, and Gigi comes back.
That's a waste. Putting it all over your face and your shirt.
Yeah, come on. Squeeze it into a bowl and then use a brush like a civilized, like, what are you doing?
I did like what Gigi said at this point, where she went up to him and she said, "You damn fool," and then she wiped his face with
I have this line down too. Go for it.
One problem with painting like that is the Undertaker has to finish it.
No, read it right.
What? I read it wrong?
There's just one problem with painting like that. The Undertaker has to finish it.
That's more accurate. I'm so sorry. Anyway, in summation, Gigi was my favorite character.
Oh yeah, same. No, you know what? Actually, I liked the fierce mom.
Oh, okay. I'm glad that our my other favorite characters tracks. I may have had a different opinion on the movie, but at least our favorite characters still line up.
For sure. Oh, here's another note I have about the scene. The big painting he's working on, the one that I said I'd hang in my house, which I wouldn't, is a painting of Gigi. And I have two comments here. One, Gigi, both in real life and in the painting, has bangs, and I miss my bangs. I gotta cut them. They're too long. I gotta cut my bangs. Number two, her boobs in the painting look nothing like her boobs in real life.
Okay, I had that same feeling, but I was like, I don't know if I'm just like, because she has the nice I want to say 1950s, but I guess it was in the 60s. So
50s, 60s, like pointy guys.
Pointy boobs. And even then, if she didn't have the pointy boobs, whatever was under that was definitely smaller than the boobs he had painted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's also very broad-shouldered, less petite than she was in real life.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
okay.
Just her entire body was a little bit bigger. The boobs felt proportionate to her frame in the painting, but I do not think that they would have been proportionate on her body. And I think that that's where I saw the difference, because I was like, oh, she's very tiny. Those boobs are huge. Those boobs
were very large. Yeah. Yeah, he was taking some... do you think Herschel painted that?
Wouldn't be shocked.
Wish that was something we could look up.
Voice doing that. Did Herschel paint boobs? That's all I'm going to put.
Did he do all the paintings, do you think?
Maybe he went through one of his phases.
Yeah, he was like, he didn't get them from the thrift store. He was like, you know what? I've got some in the garage.
And it makes sense because he went through every style. So he was like, I'm going to do some from the Impressionist period, but I'm also going to do some Dada here. When did that happen? Am I bad with the timing? Sorry if
I have
art
no
fans
idea
are really
what
listening.
those words mean.
I'm trying to think of another type. I'm bad. Abstract. That's one.
Watercolor.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of watercolor, as we continue on in this story, we haven't gotten past the Gigi being murdered part, so I'll wait until we get
spoiler!
up to that. Sorry! I know no one saw that coming. We haven't talked about it.
So there's another line she has after this Undertaker line that I really liked. Because it just kept going. She goes, "Pigments, pal, not hemoglobin. Give this painting to the blood bank. Get back to work."
I can understand why you liked it.
See, all of these lines are gold.
I still hate it, but you're making it sound so endearing.
No, I understand that it's bad. But like Gigi's lines, oh boy.
Gigi was great.
Gigi was the best. You're right. She was the best character. She also had like 1,000 bathing suits. In every scene, she's in a new one.
For a second there, I was like, do we just wear onesies every day? Is that...
She's got to take her little bike boat to...
She does live out on the beach.
The city.
She could get to the city on the bike.
I think that's where she went. She like went to run an errand and she got on her little paddle bike.
Oof. How did she get there? Did that take her entire day? Literally every scene with bikes, they go like 3 feet from the water and then it just stays. And well, when they first got on, I was like, oh, I would like one of those bikes. That would be very nice. I would like to use one of those on the water. And then I saw how inefficient they were.
Yeah, there's a scene later where a couple is riding them and the gal finally goes, "I'm getting tired." And I was like, yeah, I would be too.
It's like a hamster wheel, just in the same spot, just continuing to go.
Still. This is where he murders her, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he stabs her in the face and she dies. He stabs her like beside the eye and blood pours out of her mouth and she collapses.
Yeah,
so,
it's very quick.
It's very quick. And also like, man, I do not think that they knew much about anatomy in the 60s because none of this is tracking.
Oh, for sure not.
But then he has all this blood, I guess. So he starts throwing it around on his paintings. And then there's a scene that establishes some other characters after her death. And it's the fierce mom we were talking about. I did love
this scene.
I loved this scene too.
And I watched it like 3 times to make sure I got every word out of it. And I was like, oh, okay, she did say that. Okay.
It's a mom and daughter. And the daughter is like waiting for some friends to pick her up. And the mom says, you know, when I was your age, they didn't sell the books you read and underline.
That was the progressive reading being too. It's because she met a girl named Sydney, and she couldn't believe that she met a girl named Sydney.
And you know what? I don't understand Sydney. Sydney is the most perplexing character to me. Like, I understand Adam Sorg murdering people for the color red better than I understand Sydney and her boyfriend.
Partner? Yeah. I know. Why were they dressed? What were they doing?
They were always dressed the same. She was in this first scene where they come to get the daughter, whose name is what? Amanda? What is it? April? April, yeah, I think.
That sounds right.
They come to get her, and Sydney and the boyfriend are dressed identically, and Sydney is wearing a men's wig, and they come bounding up and do a little dance and twirl and kiss. And Sydney is like, "We're on the patio, daddy-o." Like, all of her lines are like,
perfect.
Are like that. Yeah.
Did you hear what the mother said at that point, though?
Remind me.
I hope we don't have another war. I don't want you defending me.
Ooh, I was like, burn. I would hate to think of a man like you defending me.
First thing I was like, wait, no, Vietnam's happening soon. Should they be worried? Should they be concerned?
Sydney needs to take off that wig or she's going to get drafted. Wait, was Vietnam draft? Vietnam was draft.
It was draft. That was the big thing.
That was the big draft, right?
That was the bad thing.
We're going to cut that out. I don't know stuff.
Also, I stopped taking notes at some point, so I'm gonna have to wing it, but I remember it too well. There are parts that I don't remember. I'm gonna be real. I did laundry.
Okay. I didn't do anything. I didn't even knit while I watched this. I was just
are
focused.
You okay?
My knitting is still in a box somewhere.
Okay, that makes more sense. That tracks better because I even said maybe I should take up knitting while I was watching it the first time because I was like, I don't like how it's just so nothing.
No, I just watched it. And my biggest complaint with the app on which I watched it is hitting the space bar did not pause and play. Instead, it minimized, maximized. Hated that.
Gross.
Did not care for that. Anyway.
So anybody watching at home, it is on YouTube. So if you need to watch it, it's on YouTube with Spanish subtitles, which is nice because there are 11 comments and half of them are in Spanish. But I did understand the last one, which said in Spanish, this film is not for children.
Es verdad. Although, I mean, how old is the child? Because it's pretty campy, even the gore.
The gore is not that bad. I was shocked at how not shocked I was for the Godfather of gore.
You know, I mean, maybe in the 60s, this was really a lot. Here's another thing I wanted to talk about. Just to take a break from the movie, I guess. The cover of the movie, like the movie poster on IMDb. Did you take a look at it?
It looks awesome.
It looks awesome, but it also like has all of the gore murder scenes in it. Like it has all of the scary scenes in little clips on it.
Oh, that's true. And it makes it look gorier.
Yeah, it does.
It makes them look naked?
Well, they were
in black and white. I just pulled it up to look at it. Yeah, I was going to say it's in black and white. So Gigi looks naked. Everyone's in their bathing suits, so they look naked because it's in black and white.
And it's like washed out black and white. Like overexposed.
Oh, yeah. So that definitely made it way. Oh, and I like the little cartoon characters. It looks like one of those detective novels.
It does look like a detective novel. You're right.
You know what? The cover, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, cover's great. A blood-spattered study in the macabre. It will leave you aghast. And then it's depiction of Adam Sorg as the devil. He's in all red with little horns, and he's got like little devil shoes. Looks like a little scamp, like a little rascal.
In the background, there's like a beheaded man, but there is no blood used of a man.
No, I think that
is the part we're about to get to. So should we?
It's a little ways from now, but we need to talk about that.
Okay.
Okay. You were like doing other things while you watched this, but when he buries Gigi, he buries something with her, and they don't call it back. So do you know what it was?
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I was going to ask you, and I hope that you had paid better attention. I watched it twice.
I even rewound and was like, I don't know what this is. I only caught
it on the second time, and was it her finger?
Oh,
I thought it was her finger like wrapped up.
That would make sense.
We didn't talk about the fact when he was painting after she died. This is the next part, but he painted with her face. He rubbed her bloody face. And I didn't notice this until the second time. He just rubbed her bloody face on the painting.
I missed that entirely.
That is not how the painting came out, though.
No. Oh my God.
He just picked her up and was like, here.
You know what? You're really just making a case for this being an even better movie than I thought it was.
This is not what I want to do.
So then he goes back to the gallery and he's got this painting that he did of Gigi. It's covered in Gigi's blood, and he made this painting way more gruesome than we had seen it leading up to this point. Like leading up to this point, it was just topless Gigi. And now we see that he's like depicted her death. It's got a knife through her face, and like,
is there like an ape demon?
Yeah, I don't know what that demon was. Yeah.
That didn't. I feel like that could have gone without the ape demon. I don't know why it was there. I don't
know
what
I like the ape demon. That's why I want to hang it in my house. 10
out of 10 for the ape demon, not the giant boop lady. Like, let's just keep.
I mean, they're both good. So he brings us in, and that feisty mom has rushed to the gallery. She really wants an Adam Sorg painting, and she's caught wind that there's going to be a new one. And so Adam Sorg is presenting this, and the critic is there, who I guess just hangs out at this gallery all the time. And he's like, he's also moving his hands crazy in front of the portrait, like he's doing a ritual. I guess this is just what men in the 60s did when they were feeling something.
Because
they couldn't express it.
They couldn't express their feelings. So.
Yeah, they just had to wave their hands in front of something and then be, and then be mean for some reason. So this feisty woman is there and she's like, I must have this painting. How much? And Farnsworth says 15,000 for this painting.
I was going to say, I like that he said it without any discussion.
I know, he like leaned into Adam as though he was going to discuss, and then he just shouts out a number. And even the critic is like, this is insane.
This is the premium writing we're talking about, where it just steamrolls through everything.
And this scene is like, no, okay. Before I make a comment on the scene entirely, let's finish talking about what happens in the scene. So Farnsworth is like, 15,000 is totally fair. He's put his blood into this one. And Adam is like leaning against it, like weirdly caressing it, like his face is against the painting and he's touching it. And I was like, girl, he did not put his blood into this one. And the critic is like goading him. He's like, sure, you did one good painting. Anybody can do one good painting. Can you do more? And this whole scene feels like I'm watching a high school play. No, that's generous, because I've seen decent high school plays, like a middle school play. So, the dialogue is weirdly stilted, and it's like they're like facing each other. Like the critic and Farnsworth are facing each other, but they're also like weirdly cheating out toward the camera. Like they haven't figured out how to be comfortable in front of the camera. And their lines are like, no, you can do better.
I went to see a Charlie Brown Christmas stage play, and it was adults that acted it out, but it's very similar to the acting in this movie. It wasn't paid a lot of money for it, unfortunately. It was not.
I got distracted by wanting to know how much money, and I spilled wine everywhere.
Oh, no. Not
fine.
in the new house.
It's fine. My couch is easily cleaned. Go on. How much money did you spend for this?
I think $60 a ticket. Yeah. Yep.
Boo.
Yeah, it was bad. Halfway through, we hit intermission. We went because Ryan and I had been going to a lot of like holiday type plays. We went to a really good drag. Do what?
A drag? I asked if you had seen the Nutcracker, but I was
no, we hadn't. The Nutcracker did come, and then we were like, "Oh, we'll go next year," and then COVID.
Great.
But but that year we had gone to. It was so good. It was a drag show. It was like a Halloween drag show
for Christmas.
It was a play. Not a Halloween drag show for Christmas. It was a Halloween play. And then we were like, we love going to this shit. So let's go to a Charlie Brown Christmas. So then at the like intermission, because like I thought Ryan really wanted to go. So I tried really hard not to be shitty about it. And I was very like straight faced. And then I just looked at him and I was like, are you having a good time? And then he kind of was like, yeah. And I was like, are you not having a good time? And he was like, no. I was like, can we leave? So then we got to leave. We got to leave. Like, we weren't being held there. Also, the people in front of us got very drunk, and it was like their night in the city. Charlie
Brown Christmas.
They were very drunk. It was like a family, and they were very drunk, and it was like their night in the city. So they had gone and gotten really drunk right before it. They had children there, so they specifically probably went for the children. This was a children's play. Most people here were children. I should not have gone. We should not have gone. It was a bad idea. But you saying it was like a middle school play, I remember watching that, and Ryan and I had said those exact things, like, oh, I wish this was, like, this is like a high school play. And then we're like, no, high school does way better than this,
yeah,
guys.
That's generous. So the next scene is Adam's back at his weird, isolated cabin. Gigi's dead out on the beach.
But it's also a very shallow grave. We haven't discussed how shallow that grave was. He was like, let me just sprinkle some sand over you. And a nice gust of wind would have shown that body.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And watching him do it drove me nuts because her like knee is poking out and he's covering parts of her that are already covered. And I was like, get her knee. Get her knee. Get her knee. Like, I don't know why I'm giving this guy advice through the screen.
Yeah, we could do way better.
I would bury a body so much better.
First of all, not in sand. Why would you do it in sand?
Not in sand. Definitely deeper than half an inch. Also, he like
that's
jabs a stick into the sand to mark her resting place. That like stabbed into her though, right? Because like
I was wondering because he pushed it really far down, and she's not that far down. She was
not that far down.
Yeah, it definitely stabbed her.
Do you think it went into the same stab hole as the knife?
The face?
Yeah, do you think it was like his leg
he was covering? I thought it had to have been either upper leg or stomach.
Ouch.
She's dead. She can't feel it.
Good point. So Fierce Mom's kid and her friends show up at this isolated beach, and they ultimately leave because some other couple is like getting frisky.
Getting busy.
Yeah. On the beach. So that's like a narrow escape for them. And Adam is like looking out the window, contemplating. He's like visibly contemplating. Like this guy invented eyebrow acting. He's like, I can do them all. I can do mischievous. I can do I can do up to no good. I can do curious. He's just waggling his little eyebrows around so that we know what he's up to. And so these kids are ultimately pretty disrespectful. Like they get on the paddle bikes and they should not have done that. I'm not saying that they should have been murdered as they were, but they should leave other people's property alone.
That's not their paddle. Yeah. Also, so they're out on these paddle bikes and all of a sudden Adam shows up on a boat. The fuck did the boat come from?
Where did the boat come from? And they're like far out on these paddle boats. I know Chelsea's been like, you can't go more than 3 feet, but they're like out there on these paddle boats. And this is when the gal is like, I'm getting tired. Like, well, yeah, because you went further than anybody ever has. You just sent a Guinness World Record and you're about to be murdered. This scene is atrocious. And the cuts are so bad. So we establish in one shot that Adam is like going after the guy with like a jousting stick. I don't know what he has. He's got like a sharpened stick. And so we see him pull it out and then the scene cuts and we're seeing the boat approach and he doesn't have it out. And it like keeps cutting back and forth to different scenes and nothing is consistent. And the sound is crazy. Like, I don't like, listen, I know that I am not a good podcast editor, but I would have done a better job on this part of the movie. I don't know what they were doing. So we've got a joust kill. I did not expect a joust kill.
But he wasn't dead yet.
You're right. So he joust knocks him off the paddle bike and he's like clutching his chest and bleeding. And then
in the water?
In the water.
Watercolor?
Watercolor. Oh.
Yeah.
Do you think they did that on purpose?
No.
No.
I don't think anything good in this movie was done on purpose.
So then he runs over him with the motor of the boat and there's like a trail of blood and the girl finds his like board shorts. What does she find? His board shorts?
I couldn't tell. It was just like a not a triangle. I don't understand shape.
Just a flap of something.
Yeah, it was like a rectangle and I couldn't. Was it supposed to be a piece of his skin? I'm not really sure.
I'm not sure. But she finds it and like clutches her face and screams in the most cliche way.
And doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop.
For so long. It was unsettling, but not in a good way where you're like, oh, I'm scared. Like,
no, I laughed.
What's going on?
And this was interesting. You were right. No men's blood ends up in the paintings. Like he just discards
all that watercolor.
All that chum.
Yep.
At this point.
It seems really unnecessary to kill him if you're not going to use his blood.
He was just getting him out of the way to get to her. Yeah. This is where we see him like squeezing her intestines to squirt blood out.
But can we talk about the painting that he made in order to put her intestine blood on?
It's like this is like a stretched out.
It was like a leg.
It was like with a leg with feathers.
Oh, body. Yeah. Oh, was it feathers?
It may be a fish.
Could be scales, could be feathers, dinosaurs.
Yeah, yep.
That's how I feel.
And was it eating? What was it eating?
I think it was eating another body, but it was very abstract.
It was pretty abstract. I thought it was like...
could be a rubber chicken. It looked very close to a rubber chicken.
Might have been a rubber chicken.
Like a vague rubber chicken.
I thought it was like hooking, like in an old-timey comedy show, if the comic is doing bad, you'd bring the hook out and scoop them off stage. I thought it was like hooking.
Oh, so it could be a hook. I thought it was a chicken. Could be a hook. I don't remember it that much.
I don't know, but then he just
would purchase if it didn't have the blood on it, honestly.
No, I think the blood made it better.
I bought this painting at a thrift store the other day. And by the other day, I mean like 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. My brother now has it in his abode. And it is a gnome looking off into the distance and shocked. And I would equate it to something like that. As long as you kept it under $10, I would purchase. I would not purchase it with the blood, though. It really takes away from the chicken.
You know who loves chickens? Hens. Our friend Kate's mom. We should get it for Gina Williamson.
I thought it was rooster decor. Is it?
Oh, maybe decor? It's roosters. I don't know. They're all the same.
We'll get both.
So he brings this to the gallery, and the critic is there again. And Adam is essentially saying, "I hope you're happy," as though the critic made him murder these people. Like, cool it, Adam. You're the murderer here.
But he also goes in. We didn't talk about the first painting where he was like, $15,000 is not for sale.
Oh, that's right. He said it was not for sale. So Feisty Mom is back again. She wants this one, also not for sale. So Feisty Mom's kid and all of her dumb friends go back to the beach, and Sydney and her boyfriend are now wearing matching wigs. She's not wearing a wig to match him. They're wearing matching wigs and matching outfits, and they're blowing little bubble pipes. And this is another scene. They spend it's like a 5-minute scene in the movie of them driving to the beach. And again, it's the Cowboy Bebop theme.
It's silent, like they don't talk the entire time?
Yeah, it's just a montage of them blowing bubbles.
I folded my pants at that time and was not paying any attention. I was like, when the fuck did they blow bubbles? I feel like that was an okay scene for me to miss. I feel like it didn't drive the story any further.
No, it literally drove them to the beach, but could have established that in, I don't know, 3 seconds? We didn't need so long.
They did say it was a long drive to the beach. Okay. Sorry, I remembered everything that was said in the conversation to the mom. But whenever they left, they were like, let's go on that long drive to the beach.
Yeah, and she was like, by the time you get there, it'll be dark. And they were like, we like it. These kids are just they're so wholesome.
Are they? Because when we get to the conversation that What's-His-Face has with April, I was like, this is gross.
He was laying on the moves, but he was respecting her when she said no.
Did he respect her? Because he told her to go. We'll get to that part. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, y'all. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Where are we at?
They get to this beach, and April goes off to change. She's being a little prude. She doesn't want to change under the towels like the other ones are doing. So she goes off to hide behind Adam's house in order to change into her bathing suit. And Adam meets her as she's walking back. Yeah.
Prior to this, she does have a conversation with her mom, and her mom's like, I really want a painting from this guy.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, maybe I can. Does she even say maybe I can model for him and become? I think she basically says exactly what happens.
I am skeptical because she was so reluctant to model for him when he asked.
I thought it was weird because when she talked to him, and she had said that, this artist lives out there.
I know. She was slow on the uptake to even notice it was him.
It took a while.
Yeah.
He had to say his name, but even... Yeah.
No, when he said it, she recognized it. But
yeah. But he didn't say his name for a while. Is there a lot of artists that just hang out on the beach there?
I know. He lives out on this beach. Why are you surprised to run into him? But he lays a trap for her and is like, I want you to model for me. And my notes are like, ladies, no.
This has never turned out well for anybody.
None of the men who offer this, they're not painters, they're not artists, they're not talent agents. They can't get you into modeling. Like, don't listen to them. Walk away. Go back to your friends. And so this is another like weirdly long scene of the four friends just like splashing about in the water. They're just like, I don't know.
When I folded my shirt.
They're just splashing at each other. And when they come back onto the beach, did you notice that each couple shared a towel? Like the boy and the girl dried off at the same time with one towel.
Gross.
Sydney and her weird boyfriend.
I don't like that.
I didn't either.
I didn't notice that. I don't like that.
I was like, listen, you had a big car. Like you could have packed 4 towels. I don't.
The drive is too long. They wanted to make sure that they didn't have extra weight in the car.
Oh, they really wanted to be aerodynamic. And so at this point, it's dark and they're like roasting marshmallows. And slowly the group starts to separate. Like Sydney and her weird boyfriend. I don't know. Maybe she's the weird one. The weird couple. Maybe they're
perfect for each other.
I think that they're a great match.
Yeah.
They go back to splash more in the water. I just want to be clear that they are standing in like knee deep water. They're not swimming. They're not getting in the water. They are standing in knee deep water and splashing at each other. Like, I just want to make that very clear.
And there are a couple points where it is the weird couple and they look like they're talking to each other, but they're not. Because then they end up saying dialogue, but he like points and they like move around a little bit like they're talking.
Oh, no, you misunderstood what happened in the scene. Let me explain what happened in the scene.
I'm here.
So he points. He's like, look over there. And she looks. And then he tries to take the strap off her bathing suit. And she's like, hey, mister. Like, he was like joke distracting her to get her naked. But it doesn't work. She's assertive. Proud of her. Good job, Sydney.
She was very good at that.
She did a great job.
Same with April, but only to her man friend, not to the artist.
Yeah, I wish she had brought
that fierceness into that.
Yeah, she does not come off well. Like, not to victim blame, but she seems real dumb. So the goofy couple are out in the water, and April is like pouting. She's like, I don't know what to do. And Rolf, her boyfriend's name is Rolf. Is like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, this artist like wants me to model for him, and I don't know. And Rolf is like, okay, here's what you're gonna do. Get in the car, go to the nearest gas station, call him and tell him no, because I want to spend the evening with you. Do you remember this?
I do.
I thought this is what you were talking about earlier when he was being kind of a creep.
But he says that, and then she's like, I don't know. But they argue for a while on her going to call. But then she's like, I'm going to go call. You go talk to the friends. So she basically lies to him, too.
She does lie. She is like, I'm going to go make this phone call. And she plays it off as though it's a practicality. Like, we can't both go because then our weird friends are going to come back from the ocean and we'll both be gone and they'll think something's wrong. So, like, one of us has to say, and I'm the one who needs to call. So, like, I should go. But then she goes to Adam's house like a big dumb idiot.
I was like, I just have to pose really quickly for a few seconds.
For a painting.
Because cameras are readily available right now. And you can just take a picture of my pose very quickly, right?
And so she's like, do you need me to pose? Like, how do you want me? And he's like, no, nothing. He just sits her down on the couch and she immediately takes off her top so that she's just in her bathing suit. Like, Adam doesn't ask her to do that. She just takes it off herself.
And before this, Rolf even is like, does he want to paint you in the nude? Because I want to paint you in the nude.
Yeah, Rolf was being a little...
See, that's the parts where I was like, Rolf, come on, man. You already got it. She's already into you.
But at the same time, he was trying to get her to calm down. And he was like, you know what? You need a stiff drink. And he starts pouring from a flask. And she's like, Rolf, you know I don't drink. And then he's pouring milk. That's what she said.
Okay, was it milk?
It was milk. He was pouring milk for her from the flask, and then she takes the longest drink of milk.
I thought it was still whiskey, and I thought that her cup was milk, and I thought she had whiskey milk. And I was like, I'm not going to match that drink for this episode. No, thank you.
He poured milk from a flask into her travel cup for her.
Ew.
So that milk has just been in his pocket in the hot sun all day? Gross.
I mean, warm milk's supposed to be calming.
But you don't want body temperature milk.
Oh. This movie did not upset me, but that did. Oh, gross.
So April's at Adam's house, and he's being real rude, and she's not leaving. Like, I'm not trying to victim blame. Just ladies, respect yourself.
Also, why wasn't there blood on everything? Blood doesn't come out of things.
I don't know.
At least on the couch. I was like, there should be some blood on that from him.
There was even a scene earlier where he was like trying to clean blood out of the carpet, and he just made a bigger mess.
Yeah.
Maybe it was there and she just didn't. I mean, maybe she just assumed it was paint.
She did make a lot of assumptions. She did say, though, oh, you don't have very much paint or something. There was a lot of like words about, oh, why don't you have very much paint? And then the mother in an earlier scene said, he hasn't even come into town to get art supplies. Okay,
so ultimately in this scene with Adam and April, you know, I'm calling her April very confidently. I'm not 100%.
No, you're right. I looked it up. It felt right. So
he is like, I need you to stand here in front of the fireplace with your arms up like this, like held out above her head. And she's like doing a poor job of holding them up. And he's like, okay, no worries. I'll just tie you up real quick so that you can let your arms rest and you'll be, your arms will still be in the right pose.
And this is where it's also bad because she says, you're tying me up.
Yeah.
She knows what's happening.
Fight
and
back.
She's like kind of upset, and she's like, well, I can't do anything because I'm tied up.
And here are my two notes. The minute you notice somebody tying you up, move. Number two, there's like so much slack on this rope. Like she could have easily untied her hands.
Like, pulled her hands down. Yeah.
Yeah. She's just playing by the rules. I don't know. And so at the same time, well, April is with Adam. The weird friends come back to find Rolf, and he's like just still roasting marshmallows all alone. And he's like, hey, it's your guys' turn to go find firewood for the fire. Me and April did this last round. So they're out finding firewood. And this scene reminded me of like a Scooby-Doo scene. Like it's, you see one of them cross the screen picking up sticks, and then the other one comes shortly, like after the first one leaves the screen. It just reminded me of like Scooby-Doo characters coming in and out of doors in a hallway. I don't know. So she's picking up sticks, and she picks up one that's like really hard to lift. And so she's fighting with it. And if it were me, I would have just been like, all right, that's not for me. Like that one gets to stay in nature. Good job, stick. But she like fights for it and discovers the corpse of Gigi. Like this is the weird stick that Adam had buried into the face, abdomen, leg of Gigi to mark her grave. And do you remember what Sydney said?
That's the girl, right?
That's
I remember
the girl.
Her trying to pull her leg, and she said she thought it was driftwood. I'm sure she said something funnier.
She actually, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe it was the boy. One of them said, holy bananas. So they're like immediately trying to dig out this corpse, and I was like, that's a crime scene. Stop it.
It's very close to the surface, though. I mean,
I know, but you don't have to like.
It also seemed like they still thought. I think that the comment about it being driftwood was pretty far into it, and they said, no, that's a leg.
No.
I think that Sydney is just not very.
No, they knew it was a body straight away.
And then did they go and get Rolf? Or did
they go and get Rolf? And yeah, they go and get Rolf, and Rolf comes back, and
they say we have to go find a phone.
Yes, they have to go. Okay. No, I was looking at my notes. Sorry. Because I was trying to remember, there's another line where Sydney is like, Sydney has some goofball lines in this. She just, I don't know. She has crazy lines in this. I still don't really understand this couple. I don't understand their point in the movie.
But I love it.
And I love it. So Rolf is like, okay, I got to go find a phone. So he takes off to Adam's house. and he bursts in the door. And here's what he sees. He sees April, his girlfriend, his beloved girlfriend, tied up, wearing significantly less clothing than she was the last time he saw her.
However, Adam was a gentleman and told her not to undress because she was willing to undress for him.
Oh.
Did you miss that part? She started to pull down her bathing suit and he was like, don't do that. Gross.
I don't think she was even trying to undress. I think she was trying to like look seductive. Like I think that she was just going to do like one over the shoulder, like coy.
Oh, I thought she was just getting undressed. And I was
maybe.
Like,
I don't know.
But Rolf said he planted it.
But yeah, Adam was definitely like, no. So Rolf comes in. April is tied up. She's facing away from Adam. Adam is behind her holding a bowl and an axe over his head. Like he's about to axe her and catch her blood with a bowl. And Rolf comes in. And do you know what he says first? Where's your phone?
He's like, I don't have one.
Rolf, there are other things to worry about right now. Like, focus up, my man. Like, maybe start with put down that axe. Like, I guess I've never been in this situation. Who am I to say what to open with? So Rolf grabs a gun off the mantle that April is tied up next to and fucking drops it like a damn klutz. And at this point, I've got another line from Sydney here. At this point, this is before. So Adam is about to get shot by Rolf. But before that happens, the weird couple shows up. And even though, again, we see April tied up, Adam with an axe over his head, Sydney says, "Hey, man, dig this crazy game of charades."
Oh my gosh. I don't even remember that line. That's probably the best line of the movie.
Dig this crazy game of charades.
They live in a different world.
Like, are they supposed to be high all the time? Like, are they
that would be the only
doobies? Like, I don't.
That was a good answer to their antics, but I have no idea how to explain.
I do not know. I want a movie about them, though. I think it'd be faster.
I would enjoy that. Yeah, for sure. At the very least, I would watch it on times twice the speed.
So Rolf shoots Adam in the face and with the shotgun, and Adam is like wandering around moaning for a little while, clutching his face before he falls to the ground. And then Sydney has another great line as the scene fades away. She says, "I guess I won't take up painting for a while."
Oh, yeah, I did write that. I did note that one. I was like, is this the time to joke? I guess so. I
mean, that's how I deal
took out the baddie, I guess.
That's how I cope. Like, I can't hold it against her. And I guess he I don't really remember what happens, but my last note is, oh, good, now his blood can be immortalized on canvas. Let's see how he likes it. So he must have fallen on some canvas and blood. Or like
someone could have picked up his head and rubbed it against a canvas like he did with Gigi.
How did you like it with Gigi?
Yeah, I remember that he like got shot, but because this was one of the first splatter films, I assume that this is why this happened. But there was immediate just like bright red blood everywhere.
Yeah, it was everywhere.
It wasn't like, oh, stuff is bleeding. It was like, oh, he's already bled out.
Yeah, it wasn't like Dexter. Like there wasn't splatter. Like It was just on his face.
That was pretty rough. And then I think the last scene, it goes back to the first scene.
Yeah, so we're seeing Farnsworth and Grigorovich. They are burning this painting, which I assume is the one of Gigi. Could have been any of them, I guess. And I have a question about a line that Farnsworth says.
Oh, okay.
He says, "I'm not burning a painting. I'm lighting Adam Sorg's funeral pyre." Isn't that a sign of respect, a funeral pyre? Isn't that like...
Oh, it might be.
So...
But then it wouldn't be his... Then it wasn't the painting with his face on it?
But he took it down from hanging in a gallery. I don't think that they would have hung up the one that Adam bled out on.
That's a good point. Did he make the assumption? No, he couldn't have made the assumption that it was his own blood. Some of it was his own blood.
Some of it was.
Yeah.
I just was curious, like, what do you mean funeral pyre?
I don't think that... I'm going to be real with you. I don't think Herschel put that much thought into it. I think we're putting more thought than he did.
You're right. I'm probably getting hung up on the wrong things. But then Grigorovich has a fun line, and it might be the last line.
That's my favorite line. Yeah.
You could have at least saved the frame.
I loved that line. That was that was my only thing about it. I said I hate this movie, but I like the last line. The last line's all right.
There were a lot of great lines in this movie.
I'm going to replace the word fuck with Farnsworth now.
Farnsworth.
So now if I get upset, I'm like, Farnsworth.
Farnsworth.
So everyone I know with young children is going to be very happy about that. So here is my theory to him not have killing people. He didn't need to kill people. He could have just asked if the blood in humans in 1963 was like that, not like normal humans where it turns brown. Why didn't he just ask for pads? That's
a great question.
I also have preloaded paintbrushes.
I also had in my notes, go to a butcher. Like, go.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be human blood.
Go get some pig's blood. Come on. We just put a pig heart in a human. Go get pig blood. Put it in your painting. If it's good enough for a human body, it's good enough for your canvas.
Let's let him know. Let's see if he can remake it. No, rest in peace. He died in 2016.
R.I.P.
But whoever takes over has taken over for him since then. We can reach out to them. The person who made the 2016 remake of Blood Feast, I'll reach out to them and I'll ask them if they could rewrite the movie with just using different blood. I don't know.
It'd be a pretty boring movie.
Would it be worse than what we watched if they had the same movie with the same characters, but they took pig's blood?
How do we get that sweet charades line?
Oh, it could still be in there. It's just a pig. They just tie the pig up.
Dig this crazy game of charades. If we ever get married, the first thing I'll do is get a divorce. I love it. I love it.
I'm glad that you liked it. I hated every second.
Did you hate it the first time before you learned stuff about the director?
I did. I sat down to watch it and I was like, this is so...
I expected to hate it.
It's so daunting.
I expected to hate it.
And it could be because I watched it in like 3 or 4 different settings. So like if I watched it all the way through the first time, maybe it would have been okay. But I started and I watched the first like 30 minutes, which this movie is only 1 hour and 20 minutes. And that's probably my favorite part is that it's not any longer than that.
I was so tired last night. Like, so I've been moving, right? So I've just been busy and tired this last week. So when I sat down to watch it last night, I was like, son of a bitch, I hate that I'm putting this on. And when I saw how short it was, I was like, okay,
I can get through it.
We can do it. So I poured a glass of wine and a bowl of Cheez-Its and was like, all right, let's fucking get into it. Color me blood red. And then very early on, I was like, all right.
Like I can get behind these. Yeah.
Like definitely a bad movie overall. But God, some of those lines just got me so good.
Well, I think it means that sometime the good news is that I think his movies are like in the public domain. So if we ever want to do like a watch party with them, we can do a watch party with them. I don't want to remake it. No, thank you.
No, I want to remake it.
We could do better. I'm not.
Yeah, we could do better. I want to be Sydney.
I'll be Gigi.
Okay. Ryan can be Adam. Is he good at eye acting? He's got to be good at acting.
He's got a pretty hard blink. He could do it.
Well,
he can do eyebrows.
Eyebrows. Yeah, we'll make it work. You're gonna have to ride those paddle bikes if you're Gigi.
Oh hell no.
All right, you can be the mom.
I'll get too tired. Okay, that's exactly. I have a wig that fits perfectly. Did you also notice, this is very late in this game, but the part where the mom was talking to her daughter April and then Sydney and Sydney's other half, it looked like she kept closing her eyes when she said her lines. She would open them when she wasn't talking, but when she started talking, she would close her eyes.
Oh, no. Wait, which one?
I promised to recreate that. The mother. Just the mother. Whenever she talked, she would be like, she would not say anything.
Keep her eyes closed and then pop them open for the...
And she would only talk with her eyes closed. No one can see me right now, but my eyes are closed.
You know what I bet it was? That was like, I think that the sun was in their eyes in that scene.
I thought that might be the case, but she would turn back to them, and it still looked like her eyes were shut. And I was like, "Is that how you remember your lines, Mama?" That's probably how I would.
Great movie.
Terrible movie. Awful movie.
No, you're right. It's not good. It is fun, though. I maintain it's fun.
It's fun to talk about, and it would be fun. If I didn't know I was going to talk about it, I would have liked it a lot less.
I think that's fair. I think watching it at a faster speed was the right move. I wish that I had done that.
It did help a lot. It really did. The second time around, I was like, oh, okay, I can get behind this. Yeah, I think that the other two movies he made were way better. From what I've heard, they have way better reviews. None of his movies break a 6, and he has like 70 movies.
Now I want to watch the other two.
Some of them go down to 1s.
Okay, I want to watch those too.
I think they're all set in Florida.
Oh, was this in Florida?
Yeah.
All right, everybody. This has been Never Show the Monster. I'm Kelly Attaway.
I'm Chelsea Hollader.
And you can find us on Twitter at noshowmonster. She nailed it. And you can email us at noshowmonster@gmail.com. Yeah, we'll see you next week to talk about, is it the Suspirias?
Yeah, Suspirias.
We're doing the Suspirias. We're going to do both old and new next week. Is that right?
Yep. And we'll be wrapping up our art series with it.
That'll close us out. So get ready for that. The new Suspiria, at least, is very long. So make sure you give yourself ample time to watch it. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Goodbye.
No, I fucked it up.
We just can't say bye to people.
Hey guys, fancy meeting you here at the end of the episode. This is Kelly, and I just wanted to hop on and say our release schedule will be changing a little bit after this episode. So we've been releasing on Saturdays so far. We're going to change to a Tuesday release schedule. So our next episode will come out February 1st, and that will be over the Suspirias. So can't wait to see you then. Also, if you are a fan of The Wheel of Time, please join me on my other podcast called 13th Depository. We just started a reread of the whole book series. So we have pivoted from the Amazon show, and we are now a book club. We're a literary podcast now. So you can come here for your horror and go over there to, I don't know, brag to your friends about how many pages you've read. So thanks again. We will see you February 1st.